What's up, guys? It's Patricia from TarantulaHeaven.com. Today, I have little Miss Spidey here with me. She is my Chilean rose hair. She is actually in the back of her tank. I'm hoping she's going to move to the front, but she is tracking down a roach, so maybe you guys will get to see a feeding today. I don't know how she's feeling, but she is currently right on top of the roach, so I guess that's a good sign. Anyway, if you're new here, I make tarantula videos. I put them out every single week on Tarantula Tuesday, and I cover things like tarantula facts, weird stuff about my own tarantulas, and basically anything tarantula related. So if you're into that, please subscribe. Today I wanted to share something that I've been thinking a lot about. As I film this, it probably is going to come out a little bit later, but we are at the end of 2020 and we are still in the pandemic. And I feel like now that I've been spending a lot more time at home with my tarantulas and of course the jealous cat, I've been reflecting a lot about what's happened over the last year, what I've learned about myself and others, what I've learned about the world, and how this has changed me. And I think many tarantula owners would agree, but my tarantulas have really helped me during this time. So I wanted to make a video about a few things that my tarantulas taught me during a pandemic. I've talked a lot about how tarantulas have helped me through a lot of really rough stuff, whether it's struggling with depression or anxiety, just dealing with everyday stressors. My tarantulas have given me some sort of solace in the hard times, helped me feel more calm, centered me, and grounded me. And that was certainly true during the pandemic too. You know, as I was home with them a lot, I really have enjoyed having their company for the long days, working from home and just being home an awful lot more. So one of the first lessons that my tarantulas taught me during a pandemic was to make your home cozy and comfortable. If you guys watch my videos about how tarantulas are masters of hygge, or the art of keeping things cozy and loving your home, you'll know that I'm super into interior design and that I've kind of taken inspiration from my tarantulas in my own home, in that I'm really obsessed with making my house cozy and rearranging things, doing a little bit of decorating here and there, just making things just right, which is like the whole concept of hygge. And that's really what my tarantulas taught me, because, you know, for many of us who are working outside the home, we spend more time at work than our homes sometimes. And now that I was working from home full time and basically not going out or going anywhere during the pandemic, my tarantulas really helped me refocus on my home, myself, just making my atmosphere a really nice place to be. Whether that meant rearranging my workspace, creating a home office for myself, which I had to do, caring about what was comfortable for me and what made my life work better. And so that is inspiration that I've taken from my tarantulas completely, because as you know, tarantulas are so particular about their homes and their surroundings, and they are just nuts about it, so neurotic. So that was something that I definitely learned, because I've seen Spidey work for hours on digging a specific hole, making a specific web, filling things up with dirt so she can lay in them. Like, she really cares. Blinky too. Blinky will make tons of crazy tunnels. And so I think that this is really, really important. And so that's one thing that my tarantulas have helped me prioritize. And I'm like, you know what, it doesn't matter how much time it takes, this space is gonna be good, it's gonna be perfect, and I will channel my inner tarantula to make this place as livable as possible and as cozy as possible for me, because it is worth it, as my tarantulas have taught me. So I've really prioritized coziness this year. Another thing my tarantulas have taught me is that it is okay to be alone, and it is okay to befriend yourself or just be okay with yourself. I'm an introverted person in general, but I actually do come in contact with quite a lot of people. Prior to working from home, I was working in an office where I would see maybe 10 people a day for therapy. And so I was coming in contact with a lot of people, as well as my coworkers and friends and other people that I was seeing. And now that I was working from home, really for many, many weeks, sometimes the only person I would see would be my boyfriend at night. I would be just talking to my clients through telehealth, and I was really missing that interaction. And it is okay. My tarantulas, as they are very, very solitary creatures, as most tarantulas are, have taught me that enjoying your own company is really important, and finding things that keep you busy but actually feel good for you too. I think tarantulas have taught me that it's not just about being busy and occupied, it's really about being intentional. You know, I mean, I truly believe that sometimes it looks like Spidey is just being absolutely ridiculous, but in reality, tarantulas do not move unless they have to, unless they really feel a pull. Whenever Spidey's doing something in her tank, it's very intentional. She is digging that specific thing. She is moving this thing in a specific place where it's just right, like her ping pong ball. So they don't expend energy unless they absolutely have to, and that's okay. Like, it really made me reflect on things that actually felt enjoyable to me, and made me really take note of the things that I was doing in solitude and whether those activities were actually good for me as a person, my mental health, my physical health. So it taught me to enjoy my time alone and to just be intentional about it. You know, before this year, and I still do it to some extent, but I was really doing like this hamster wheel type thing, and I think that this year helped me to reflect and kind of take a little more consideration to how I was spending my time. And my tarantulas definitely help with that, because as I study and observe them, I notice that they don't move unless they absolutely have to. To my next point, tarantulas also taught me this year during a pandemic that it is okay to sit still and do nothing. I think this is a big lesson a lot of us have learned, and I still struggle with this sometimes. Like I mentioned before, I was on this like go, go, go hamster wheel type thing, and it wasn't good for me. I was anxious all the time. I was never relaxing. And so I took a note from my tarantulas and decided to just get a little bit more comfortable with sitting still. Now, this is still uncomfortable for me because I do still struggle with anxiety, and I do still feel sometimes like I'm not doing enough, or sometimes just sitting still makes me really nervous and a little bit uneasy, you know, because I'm used to doing things all the time. But it's okay, you know, since observing my tarantulas and being in this pandemic and sometimes being just too exhausted to put energy into the things that I used to before, and having to like conserve my energy for my work and myself. It's gotten me into things like sitting still in meditation, doing more relaxing yoga practices, doing more still things like painting, doing more art, things like that were recreational and don't take tons of energy. So I've definitely given more thought to the power of sitting still, even if I'm doing like little things like reading or something like that. And sometimes just sitting with the jealous cat and just enjoying that. It's okay. We don't have to be doing something all the time. Tarantulas are amazing, and they do nothing most of the time. Even right now, as Spidey's supposed to be going after a cockroach, she's literally been sitting in the same position for the last 5 minutes. And it's fine. Everything is fine. Everything will be okay if you rest for a second. And I've also learned that rest can be really important. Sometimes we're like on that hamster wheel and we're never getting off and we're just burnt out. Rest is so important for rejuvenating yourself. And that's kind of how I think about tarantulas, is that they rest, but then when they have to act, they do. Like Spidey's chilling right now, but I'm sure that as soon as that cockroach moves, she will be on it. And that's the same way that cats move too. Like, as we think about animals and their predatory responses, they have these cycles where they're very lazy, they rest, they recover, and then it's go time. So I've really changed the way I thought about rest and relaxation this year. And I have my cat and my tarantulas to thank for that. And I hope that when all of this is, you know, kind of resolved, in whatever the new normal is going to be, I hope that that is something that I hold on to and a lesson that I take from this and keep going throughout my life, is that rest is good for you and it's necessary. The other thing my tarantulas taught me during the pandemic is that grooming and cleaning is very important. I think that we all know that we weren't washing our hands enough or being clean enough in our everyday lives as this virus spread throughout the world. And one thing that I know is that my tarantulas are very clean. They clean themselves several times a week, even though they don't even come in contact with anything besides maybe the occasional food item and maybe some water in their tank. they don't really do much. They're very clean animals. They don't get dirty or messy, but nonetheless, they will still keep themselves very clean. Spidey can spend hours grooming. I've become a lot more aware of the need to sanitize things, to clean things, to be very, very mindful, disinfect things. Just be mindful of things that we come in contact with. I think that's what we've all learned, is that hand washing is a really important part of our lives. Taking showers, washing our clothes, like anything that comes in contact with the outside world. Now, I do believe that this time as a therapist has definitely made an impact on the anxieties that many of us have around touching things and coming in contact with things. Maybe some of us have developed some OCD-like habits. Maybe not to the extent of somebody who actually has obsessive compulsive disorder, but we are extremely aware and extremely anxious about it. And so, not to that extent, but that's something that I hope I continue to carry, not to get lazy about it, continue to fight this pandemic by keeping myself and my loved ones safe. And my tarantulas, whenever I see them grooming themselves, are a reminder that it is always a good time to clean oneself. And for those of us who have really struggled with depression during this time and have been very tired, very burnt out, sometimes taking a shower or a bath can be really, really hard. But when I think about Spidey and my other tarantula Blinky and how it seems like to me they make grooming a very relaxing experience. And so that reframe sometimes makes me really think about how I always feel better after I get clean. And so those things make a big difference in my mood, and that is what helps me motivate myself, even when I'm not really feeling too hot. Anyway, guys, so that is what my tarantulas taught me during the pandemic. I'm sure there are other things, but I can't think of them right now. They have really, really helped. They have been so comforting to me. I am so glad that I have my cat, my tarantulas, and my boyfriend, and good people in my life. And you guys, of course, too, because I have loved making videos and having you guys to interact with during this time. I love getting to know you guys, even if it's just through a comment. So I appreciate you guys watching. I'd love to actually know how your tarantulas have impacted you during the pandemic and if you've had any insights. I think a lot of people don't actually know how much of tarantula stuff can apply to real life. And, I think that we can certainly learn lessons from our pets. They have a different kind of intelligence that we do. And I think sometimes we're just so in our head that we don't even connect to the animal part of ourselves, but we can learn from the real animals. So anyway, guys, that is what my tarantulas have taught me during this pandemic. I might do a follow-up to this because this pandemic is far from over. We are at the end of December right now, and it looks like things are at like an all-time high in the US. So we'll see. But thank you so much for watching. I look forward to hearing from you in the comments, and I will see you next Tarantula Tuesday. Bye, guys.